How's it going on, guys and girls? Welcome back to Aquila Painting. My name's Graham and welcome to the channel. In this video we are going to be painting some orc flesh. Really recently I painted my first orc miniature, well, half a miniature, and this is my very first time at painting orc flesh or any orc of any kind, apart from my speed paint video, but that's only one coat and I didn't paint the full thing, so I wouldn't really count that as being painted. But I'm currently working on a commission of a White Scars inspired chapter of Space Marines, and one chap is standing on an orc. So I kind of had to paint this one. I'm not gonna lie, really enjoyed it. I think the outcome of it was really good. It was really simple, so I wanted to share how I painted it with you guys for your armies at home. This video is sponsored by Dungeons and Lasers. So we're on the last 24 hours of Dungeons and Lasers encounters. If you want to pick up some awesome scattered terrain that you can use for your D&D campaign, Pathfinder, as well as wargaming as well, the link is down below. More information on those guys in a minute. So, orc flesh. I started off in the priming phase. When using the white ink for the Space Marine, I deliberately hit quite a lot of the orc underneath because I wanted that zenithal highlight effect on his skin. Now the reason for that is because the first colour I'm using is the orc flesh from the Army Painter Speedpaint range. This is a really nice vibrant green, but also has the properties of your contrast and speed paints. If you want a little bit more information about speed paints from Army Painter, check my video out in the cards. I go around and just layer all around the green fleshy areas of this orc. Beforehand I did do the exact same thing with his jacket using the speed paint colour dark wood. For his jacket I didn't do any other layers or anything like that because he is not an actual miniature, he's a part of the base. I didn't want the eye to be attracted to that. I want the actual miniature that stood on top of him to be the main focal point. So I didn't give all the areas of the orc as much attention, but the flesh that we're talking about today I did. Once the orc skin was dry, I came in next with my next colour, which was Warboss flesh from Citadel. With that colour I picked out all the raised areas of the orc flesh, and because I used the green speed paint before, I can now really easily find where my highlights need to go, making my job to paint those highlights and shadows even easier. So I go in with my Warboss green and just pick out all the highlighted areas, making sure not to hit any of those deep recesses. At this point I do add a little bit of the orc skin speed paint to my Warboss green and put that in between the two colours, just so I get a little bit of a smoother transition. Don't worry about any hard edges of where the two colours meet at this point, because we're going to do a little bit of that glazing later, that'll smooth it all out. And also when you're working with things this small, your eye doesn't pick up those layer lines either. So when you look at it, it just looks like more of a smooth transition than it actually is. It's at this point I put down the green paints and I start working on the other details of the face. So with a warm off-white I pick out all the teeth, and a bright white I pick out the eyes. Also taking a dark reddish purple, I paint the tongue as well. The reason why I'm doing these now is because when I start doing the highlights on the around the mouth, I want these areas that are deeper inside the mouth done so I don't have to paint them later, risking hitting the areas I've already painted. With miniatures, this is actually a good rule of thumb in general if you're painting from the deepest areas first to the outside. This is something that's only new to me now, but I'm finding that it's helping my painting a lot more the more I use it. Also, if I make any mistakes now, trying to do the teeth and the tongue and the eyes is a lot easier to correct those mistakes. Top tip. Another little thing that I've learned recently that's really helped my eye painting game is to paint a little bit of red underneath, and if you can get it over the top of the eyeball as well. I usually use a black for this, but using a red colour actually gives it more of a realistic effect, so you can see all the red blood vessels in the eye. Now I know this orc is dead, but I want it to look like he's a fresh kill, hence why I'm doing this in this miniature here. So all I do is water down some of the same colour that I used for the tongue, and just very gently with a very fine brush, just paint that red colour under the eyes. Also I tried to get the pupils to look like they're up in the eyeball, so it almost looks like the orc's eyes are rolling back as if it was dead. Not 100% sure I got this spot on, but I think it looks good anyway. Good enough for me to leave it where it is and not go back later and ruin it. So it's the midpoint of the video, guys, and I just want to speak a little bit about today's sponsor, Dungeons and Lasers Encounters. But today is not about the terrain. You've heard all about it in my previous videos, but the link to their campaign, you've got the last 24 hours, so link down below for that. But I just want to show you some of the products that Dungeons and Lasers have also sent me, and there is a reason why I have worked with these guys consistently. I use a lot of these different types of sets in my castle build. Check the video out in the cards. So let's take a look. So on top of the terrain they sent me, they wanted me to review. They sent me this massive box. So we're going to quickly go through some of the things they sent me to up your gaming table. So what Dungeons and Lasers are really well known for are great modular terrain sets. From Tudor mansions to royal castles, fantasy to sci-fi, they've covered all the bases for your gaming needs. All the plastic is really high quality, just like Games Workshop and other big brands. But what they also do with their terrain is they do see-through plastic, so you can get really great effects, such as the sewers I did in my very first video when I worked with them. You want multiple levels on your buildings, you say? They've got you covered with sets of stairs, as well as modular roofing systems as well. But that's not all, they do a great range of miniatures for your games, from townsfolk to barkeeps to city guard to huge dragons. I'm sure it goes without saying now that I'm a bit of a fanboy of Dungeons and Lasers, and it's great to work with them. Thank you for sponsoring this video. Go check them out, the link is down below. Next, we're going to be working on our highlights, and what I do is I take a bit of Skarsnik green and mix that in with the Warboss green and do exactly the same thing we've just done with the Warboss green and the orc skin, but further up on the highlight scale, and creating that next transition from mid-tone to highlight instead of from shadow to mid-tone. This can be a little bit tricky because we're moving into smaller and smaller areas on an already small area. Don't worry, the more you practice, the better you will get. I'm still not 100% with this, but the more we practice, the better we get. I left to finish off the teeth until now because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them, but I went with a sepia wash around the bottoms of the teeth, and then with a little bit of white, just layered up a little bit of white on the tops of the teeth, just to give it a little bit more of a realistic transition. What this will do, it'll make the teeth look yellower at the bottom and then whiter at the top, so it looks like the tops have had some constant use. Now the very last highlight I do on the orc skin is just pure Skarsnik green, and these are just very small areas at the very tops of where I'm putting the highlights, the very top points. So we're talking points of the ears, tops of the cheekbones, places like that. Now, you can leave it there, but this is a dead orc, and he got bits missing. So with the same colours I have already on my palette, I take that and paint that in all the area. He's missing limbs. That's just a flesh wound. That's nothing to an orc. He'll be up grumping soon. And that was it. My orc flesh is done. What do you think about this little tutorial, guys? Do you like the way I paint orc flesh? Is this something you're going to give a go in your painting as well? Let me know in the comments. I hope you liked the video, guys, and thank you for watching until the end. If you like what I'm doing here at Aquila Painting, guys, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more content. I do videos every week to every fortnight, and liking the videos makes the algorithm as well as myself know that I'm on the right track with what sort of content you guys are enjoying. If you want to take it a step further and support the channel in a bigger way, you can, and it's all through Patreon. Link is in the description below. I got 2 tiers on there, guys. You can choose which one you want, and you get a little bit of information before videos coming up, a little bit of more. I'm doing private hobby as well. You can also directly message me on there with any ideas or things that you might want to see on the channel too. Thanks for watching to the end, guys. Thank you to all my patrons as well. You guys are awesome. Thank you to Dungeons and Lasers for sponsoring this video. Until next time. Peace!